thank God for the transforming power of faith. Nature forms us. Sin deforms us. Let me give you the best definition of sin that I know of. It's coming short of the glory of God. You know what sin is? It's just everything in us that's not like God. And there's a lot of it, isn't there? There's a lot of it. I mean, don't go strutting your stuff, folks. We have all sinned and come short of the glory of God. Now, don't you stretch yourself out in the gutter alongside some old hypocrite and say, I'm longer than he is. So what? There is no promise too hard for God to keep. Do you believe that? Say amen. There's no promise that is too hard for God to keep. There are 30,000 promises in the Word of God, and every one of them are yea and amen in the Lord Jesus Christ. And not one jot nor one tittle shall fail from the law till all be fulfilled.
Welcome to Imani Digital Learning Center, where endless possibilities await. Are you a student with a passion for journalism and media studies? Look no further. At IDLC School of Journalism and Media Studies, we provide a dynamic and immersive learning experience from cutting-edge technology to hands-on projects. You'll develop the skills and knowledge to thrive in the ever-evolving world of media. Dream of a career in the captivating world of tourism and hospitality management? Our School of Tourism and Hospitality Management at IDLC offers a getaway to exciting opportunities. With industry-driven curriculum and expert faculty, you'll gain the expertise and confidence needed to excel in this thriving field. Seeking a deeper understanding of theology and divinity? At IDLC School of Theology and Divinity, we provide a nurturing environment for spiritual growth and intellectual exploration. Our dedicated faculty and thought-provoking courses will guide you on a transformative journey. At Imani Digital Learning Center, we believe in hands-on education through internships, industry partnerships, and state-of-the-art facilities. You'll gain real-world experience that sets you apart. Our supportive community and vibrant campus life ensures a well-rounded education. Join us at Imani Digital Learning Center and unlock your potential. Discover your passion, chase your dreams, and shape a brighter future. The journey begins at IDLC. Contact us today to embark on your educational adventure at Imani Digital Learning Center. Together, let's create a path to success. You can find us nestled in the heart of Kitale at our convenient location within Imani Radio, just across from St. Joseph's Boys High School. To get in touch with us, simply reach to us at 0741 978 177, 0741 978 177, or 0742 951 379.
Good morning. It's around 7:03 a.m. East African time. Of course, this is Imani Television Kenya. My name is Frank MUSAKALI. This is Thursday morning. And of course, this is a place where we give you the rundown, what is happening across the country as at now, and of course, as yesternight. Of course, we're giving you the full detailed coverage of the same, and just giving you an update of what's going on around the country. Do follow us on our website www.imaniradio.org. Why am I saying follow? Because when you go there, you will be able to subscribe to the latest news content, and of course, when you type your email, you'll get the newsletters of Imani Radio, you'll get the news content, and all that goes on around here, you'll be able to get them straight into your email address, as well as YouTube, Imani Television Kenya, and Facebook, Imani Television, and Imani Radio on our radio Facebook page. Let's begin with our news today. Well, let's begin with this. Motorists and passengers have today begun feeling the pinch of the recently enacted finance law following the implementation of the same fares have gone up by 30% following the increase of the fuel levy from 8%. Now, according to Matatu Owners Association, the adjustment of fares will caution the investors in the transport sector, with travelers from Nairobi roads expected to part with more than 30 shillings extra. Of course, this is them speaking.
We have called for this press briefing to officially announce plan fare hike to respond to the increase of the fuel price. We announced the plan fare hike with the regret due to the recent increase in fuel price brought about by the Finance Act 2023. Effect 5th July 2023, passengers can expect a moderate increase of between 30 of the current fare charged across the various routes, including town service and long-distance travelers. We recognize that our passengers are already grumbling with the financial burden, and we assure commuters that we are undertaking this fare adjustment as a last resort. We remain committed to providing safe, reliable, and affordable transport service to the Kenyans public, and we will continue to explore all possible avenues to mitigate the impact.
Now, a few months after the national government lifted the ban on the buying and selling of scrap metal in the country, a union of traders in the scrap metal sector in Kakamega County have emerged and distanced itself from the allegations of colluding with the cable and electrical equipment thieves in the area. Now speaking in Kakamega town at a sensitization meeting attended by security agencies, the national government leaders and the Scrap Metal Traders Association have called upon the government to prioritize the licensing of legitimate traders. Additionally, the traders have urged the public to be cautious of fraudsters who engage in such businesses with the intention of tarnishing the good reputation of the country. Let's listen in.
Kuna pahali ambapo ukiweka vitu ya stima vandalism inaendelea zaidi paka Kenya Power wana divert wanasema hii ni kwamba these people do not need electricity. So hiyo transformer inahamishwa inapelekwa mahali pengine ambao wanahitaji zaidi. So let us not do that kwa sababu we are denying other people who need those services.
License inachukua mwendo, process ni ndefu sana, ambapo tungeomba kwamba saizi serikali yetu ya bottom up hizi vitu zirutishwe hapa chini. Hii license tu inaweza fanywa veti katika sub county, sio kwa county, na isitoshe pia hata license iwe digital, sio kwamba lazima utoka kwenda Nairobi ndio upewa anaokea kupata license.
Na wale wanafanya wakijificha ficha wajue ya kwamba serikali imewamulika na wakati wao utaweza kukua mgumu zaidi.
Sana sana kitu ikiibiwa tunakuwa portrayed ati watu wa...
Now the National Power and Distribution Kenya Power has condemned an incident where Kitui East Member of Parliament Nimrod Mbai was caught on video assaulting one of its staff. Now the Kenya Power Company, through its managing director Joseph Sirior, says intimidation towards its workers is unacceptable, and of course he says it should not be condoned. Now this comes as the Kenya Power Union leaders in Kitengela staged protests early Wednesday over the alleged assaults against one of their colleagues. Let's listen in.
While working to weed the network of these illegal and dangerous connections, we regrettably note an emerging trend of violent attacks against our staff. The list of these incidences happened on Monday, 3rd July 2023 in Kitengela, where our staff were attacked by the Kitui East Member of Parliament Nimrod Mbai. We've had, in the recent past, we have had a number of cases. There was one in Utange where one wielded a panga against a staff who was on top undertaking his duties. There was also a case in Nyandarua where a member of staff and the CBM were assaulted while undertaking their duties of disconnection due to the fact that the payments had not been undertaken. We have been engaging the security teams and all that can offer assistance in this space so that we can really stem this emerging trend to guarantee safety and to guarantee good working environments for our staff so that they can work freely and never fear that they might just be or they might encounter a challenge.
Now, members of parliament have faulted the manner in which junior secondary schools is implemented. Now, the legislators claimed that the 6 months into its rollout, the majority of schools do not have classrooms, labor compromising quality education, and also the MPs says schools lack adequate trained teachers to handle the curriculum. Now, a section of the lawmakers faulted the program, saying it was expensive and that the majority of Kenyans were unable to cater for the expenses which come with the program. Let's listen in.
Junior secondary schools must be, the government and the Ministry of Education must make them fully free. We don't want parents to be charged for junior secondary schools.
Now we say that education in Kenya is free primary education. But CPC has made it more expensive to the parents than before.
It must be noticed here that actually we are doing something which we ought to have done long ago. Because, you know, as he says himself, if I borrow his words, how do you have visitors come to your house and then you start preparing for them?
You realize also that we need to, as the members have said, we need to have a legal framework. There will be a need probably in the future, and I'm going to take this forward.
Now moving on, a family in Kenancha, Kuria West, Migori County is currently mourning following the tragic loss of two relatives who allegedly consumed poisoned water. Now, the unfortunate incident occurred after the family had a meal, after which two individuals began experiencing severe stomach pains and diarrhea, were rushed to hospital, and the diagnosis revealed that they had consumed contaminated water. Now currently 3 other family members remain hospitalized, undergoing treatment, while the bodies of the deceased are currently being held at Migori sub-county, where of course they are underwaiting post-mortem to be conducted. Let's listen in.
Saa hii nimetoka kukimbia kutoka hapa ina wagonjwa wawili hospitalini ambao ni mama na mtoto wake. Tena hatujui kama Mungu atasaidia ama hatasaidia.
Kupiga simu wakakuta mtoto wangu huyu Sofia ameshindikana. Kijana mchukuu wangu mara nikasikia amekufa, nikachangunyikiwa hospitali.
When we probed further, we realized that maybe it is true, the water is the one which is contaminated, because it has affected many people from the same family. Others were even admitted at Migori, others at Kiancha Sub-District Hospital.
Now let's take a look at this other story where 4 individuals have lost their lives, while 8 others are in critical condition after they were rushed to various hospitals in Migori County. And this is after consuming illicit alcohol in the village of Kubweye, Migori County. The victims consumed alcohol during the night before experiencing breathing difficulties and vision problems. Now, local residents have criticized the police for their handling of the fight against illegal or illicit alcohol in the villages of Kuria East, and they blame the area administrators for the spread of such alcohol dens in the area. Of course, the residents are calling on the government to take strict action against the producers and sellers of this alcohol. Now, moving on, preparations for the county senate sessions are fully set in Turkana County, where the senators will hold sessions for 5 days at the end of September. Now, the Senate consists of 67 senators. Of course, the Deputy Governor of Turkana has told, or rather has stated, that the county is fully prepared to receive the senators. And of course, he was speaking yesterday with regards to the SEM. And of course, he said the senators who are county-level Senate sessions will offer senators or rather will offer citizens the opportunity to engage with their senators in their local areas. Similar sessions previously have been successfully organized in Uasin Gishu and Kitui County, and they were expected to bring economic benefits to the residents.
The Senate is coming to Turkana. As you may be aware, Article 126 of the Constitution provides that each House of Parliament may sit anywhere in Kenya, not only in Nairobi. And the Senate, being a house that defends and protects devolution, took a decision way back in 2018 to be holding some of its sittings for 1 week in select county.
And of course, you're watching Thursday Morning Briefs, and this is Imani Television. Let's take a look at some business news where there is a shortage of aircraft and air mobility, and of course this is due to bad weather, and it has resulted in flight cancellations and delays at Kenya Airways, hurting carriers' efforts to keep up with the rising demand for travel after the world opened up from COVID restrictions. The airline says poor weather has forced some of its flights to turn back and divert into unplanned routes, while some of the aircraft are undergoing unscheduled technical maintenance, forcing it to cancel and delay some other flights. Now, Chief Executive Alan Kilavuka said, and of course this is on a screen, the airline is working to round the clock to restore normalcy in the flight schedule. An exercise is expected to end before Friday, and he says the main cause of flight delays and cancellations is due to bad weather and of course resulting in diversions. A number of our aircrafts are also undergoing unscheduled technical maintenance, and that is Mr. Kilavuka's statement, who said 3 aircraft undergoing unscheduled technical maintenance returned to service on July 3rd, boosting its efforts to resume normalcy operations by today. Our flight to Madagascar was delayed by 4 hours the same day, while the carrier also delayed a flight to Johannesburg by 8.5 hours. The national carrier also delayed a flight to Harare by 14 hours, one more to Lusaka in Zambia by 9.5 hours, and a flight to Mumbai in India delayed by 3.5 hours. The flights were from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, and of course 2 more flights were delayed to Mombasa on Monday. Of course, we shall be keeping you tabs with regards to these flight delays that is happening across the Kenya Airways. Let's take a short break, and of course we'll be back with more business news. I want to take a music break. I don't know if we have it ready. And then we'll be coming back with more news and international sports and international news as well.
Wajibu wewe Yesu. Maneno yangu ni machache. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Siwezi kusema sema. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Mimi nanyamaza Bwana. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Nanyamaza. Hey Yesu wewe nanyamaza. Hey Bwana wangu. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Nikisema mwenyewe siwezi. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Maneno yangu hawawezi kuyasikia. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Nanyamaza. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Nanyamaza. Walichokikosea hawakujua mimi ni mbegu yako. Walichokikosea hawakujua unapigana kwa ajili yangu. Walichokikosea hawakujua umenichora viganjani mwako. Walichokikosea hawakujua mimi ni mboni ya jicho lako. Walichokikosea hawakujua unajibu badala yangu. Walichokikosea hawakujua wewe umenizunguka. Walichokikosea hawakujua unapigana badala yako. Walichokikosea hawakujua wewe ni jabali langu. Walichokikosea hawakujua wewe ni moto ulao. Kula maneno yao Bwana. Kula silaha zao zote Yesu muamuzi wangu Baba wajibu wewe. Wajibu wewe. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Nakutegemea. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Nakutazama wewe. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Siwezi wajibu wewe Bwana. Nanyamaza. Mimi nanyamaza. Ninaomba majibu yao yatoke kwako. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Siwezi mwenyewe. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Siwezi kushindana nao. Wajibu wewe Yesu. Nanyamaza. Wajibu wewe Bwana. Mimi nanyamaza. Yesu wangu. Nanyamaza.
Welcome back. This is Imani Television. Of course, you're watching Thursday morning. Follow us on our website, www.imaniradio.org. Let's go on. Communities living around plantations and indigenous forests have been enrolled to a community-based organization dubbed Community Forests Association, that is CFA. where they will enjoy 12 user rights. Now the rights include 1. Grazing, beekeeping, fisheries, firewood pruning rights, of course ecotourism, plantation establishment and livelihood improvement scheme, that is PELIS. Now the plantation includes Elgeyo Marakwet, Uasin Gishu and Trans Nzoia counties. Let's listen in.
It's a program within Kenya Forest Service, within our forest management, that basically identifies that communities have a need. We in Kenya Forest Service have a need. It's not possible for us to go it alone when it comes to plantation establishment. Every year we are supposed to clear fell 5,000 hectares, and 5,000 will have been cleared the previous year and the other year. So we normally around 15,000 hectares.
Imenisaidia, hakuna njaa nyumbani tena, watu wanapata chakula tele.
Kulima tukipanda miche, tukipanda miti na pia tukipanda chakula, vyakula vyetu.
Wamebenefit kwa sababu ile chakula itatolewa, inamsaidia watoto waende shule na kujikimu kimaisha.
Watoto wetu sasa hawasomi hizi shule za hapa. Tunapeleka at least watoto shule ile ya maana kidogo, kwa sababu umetoa vitu zako kwa shamba, unauza na unapeleka mtoto shule.
Nimejifunza mambo ya kutunza miti na kuchunga.
Kama kutakuwa na nafasi ya kupanda miti, ile miti ambayo tumeipanda, community wanachunga.
So mara nyingi tunawapatia information ya mtu yeyote ambaye labda anafanya kazi ambaye hairuhusiwi kwa msitu, labda kuchoma makaa ama kukata miti.
Scout wa CFA wamekuwa kusaidia sisi ni ku collect intelligence, kutembea huku na kuhakikisha kwamba msitu umelindwa vizuri, na wanaleta hiyo ripoti.
Sisi kazi yetu kubwa ni kuwapa reports jinsi msitu inavyokuwa.
So wanatumia hiyo mambo ya GVS, wanatutumia. So tukitoka pale at least tunalocate mali, tutajua ni mali wapi tunapata. Through CFA wakiwa mkutano yao, tunaenda wote kama in charge, forester, wale tunapewa nafasi tunawafunza. So tunaona hiyo ina
Well, let's take a look at some newspapers. What is making headlines across the newspapers, across what you're going to buy. People's Daily is going for free if you're in Nairobi. If you are without or somewhere further than Nairobi, you'll get it at a very, very cheap price, 10 or shillings or less. Daily Nation 60 shillings, The Standard 60 shillings, Taifa Leo 30 bob, and of course the Star 60 shillings. Let's take a look at the Star first of all. The newspaper says there, and of course it has three faces there. That is William Ruto, Raila Odinga, and of course they are talking about the panel ignores Raila and proceeds to recruit police chiefs. Of course, they're saying there about just a minute. This is yes. They're saying about 15% upper limit number has doubled since the last survey in 2014. And of course, the study says cesarean sections in Kenya breach WHO limit. It raises prospects of overuse of procedure, which carries risks for babies, page 4 to 5, which is just not a shocking thing really, but many Kenyan women are now opting for CS in terms of as compared to normal deliveries. Some of them have been opting for the same for cosmetic reasons or other reasons, while others have been advised by doctors to do so. And of course, they are worried here, or rather, the study says it raises prospects of overuse of this procedure. Of course, it should be a discussion that we should be having as at now. Then there is the picture I was telling you about. ODM leader Raila Odinga, IBC Chief Executive Majan Hussein, and President William Ruto pictured there. And of course, the story is on page 6 about the IEBC ignoring Raila and proceeds to recruit poll chiefs. Of course, you'll read that story there. And inside the Star, still, you read about delay in the reopening of Kenya-Somalia border points. Of course, that is on page 2. It's a story that has trended all over the country yesterday. And on page 8, you'll read about lawmakers, or lawmaker Mbai is released on 50,000 shillings bond. This is the MP of Kitui East, Nimrod Mbai, who assaulted a KPLC official some time back, allegedly. And of course, the DCI officers arrested Kitui East MP Nimrod Mbai soon after he was released by the ODPP in Kajiado and refreshed charges against him in an assault case. Mbai, who allegedly assaulted a KPLC employee, failed to take a plea at Kajiado Law Courts after the case was transferred to the office of the DPP. Of course, we shall be following that story. On page 8 of the Star, you'll still read about Shakahola death. Field is now owned by the government. And of course, you'll read that on page 8. And then there are voices there by Agnes Kaleche, of course, getting media businesses right with AI. You'll read that story in the Star. It's a very insightful paper today. Still in another paper, let's take a look at the People's Daily. And of course, there's a lot of stories again there. The top story there is why Kenya closed the Somalia border. They're going behind the reasons. Of course, the war on terrorism is the list number 1 there. And they're saying that number of Al-Shabaab attacks have gone up after controversial move. Terrorists who are using Kenya relatives to gather intelligence. Where? And then ESCC, or rather ESC, states protested over rise in contraband goods. Contraband goods ni vitu zenye hazijaverifyiwa na vitu kama cabs and the rest. And of course, CS Kindiki had to do an about turn. On page 4, you'll read that story in full. And of course, you'll read also about Maureen Mount inherits Ronaldo's jersey after leaving Chelsea. And of course, the infamous, should I say, number 7 jersey for Cristiano Ronaldo was vacant after he left Manchester United. Mason Mount will take on that jersey. Manchester United fans were buzzed with that news. Of course, they are saying anyone who inherits historically the number 7 jersey from Beckham to Ronaldo has always performed dismally over the campaigns. Of course, this Mason Mount, some of them had even to change the shirt in the mid-season because of Ronaldo's curse, according to Manchester United fans. Of course, we shall see how Mount fills up that number 7 pressure to perform at the level of Cristiano Ronaldo. Still under the business, the People's Daily, you'll read about Kenyans yet to claim over 57 billion in lost assets. Many not aware the cash belongs to them. And of course, this is in the business page on page 16 of the People's Daily. Look, if you have, for example, a deceased relative and he had millions or billions or a lot of money in assets and he stashed them in banks, when he dies, the bank or rather it goes to the state and it's claimed an unclaimed asset. Now, Kenyans are unaware of this. So, point is, disclose to your people the money you hold. Don't die and leave a lot of money to the state and unclaimed assets. Now, on page 2, you'll read a full story about how new taxes put on hold till Monday. Judges allow all parties to present their cases, but declines to cite EPRA boss for contempt of rise in fuel prices. There are very, very familiar faces there. And of course, there is a story you'll read on page 2. On page 3, you'll read about I Had a Dream, says witness in murder case. Let's take a look at the Standard newspaper. Of course, there's a lot of stories there as well. Chief among them is the top story that Kenyans, or rather teachers' new pay demand as 20,000 up jobs. 20,000 jobs up for grabs. And of course, after the government announced 45 billion pay rise for government workers, which includes teachers, unions are now demanding to reopen talks with TSC to renew or to review existing CBA agreement, even as tutors employ advertisers thousands of new jobs. And of course, this TSC was the top trending search question on Google yesterday. Many people went to online to say, how do you apply for TSC jobs? And of course, this is also on the top page of the Standard. And they're saying there about what junior secondary schools are saying. 20,000 shillings is a school interns will earn compared to the 15,000 shillings for their primary school counterparts. That is junior second, or rather school teacher interns. Interns will earn, I tell you, wow. 20,000 teaching jobs is up for grabs, and then 17.8 billion for SRC. That is the amount of salary increment marked for teachers. Of course, you'll read that story in detail on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. It's going for 60 shillings. Still under the Standard, you'll read about slap exposes ghosts of Kenya Power. And of course, they're talking about the infamous slap of Nimrod Mbai. That is Kitui East MP's assault on Kenya Power staff would have been, or rather would have united Kenyans against the brazen act. But alas, the ground seems hostile, with some attacking rogue officers, 6 and 7. Of course, the Standard is trying to look at the positive side of that slap of this MP who assaulted. You see, most of the Kenyans on Twitter yesterday were complaining that, look, how watu wanakuja kutukatia stima, yet the bill is still not on its deadline. So, you know, and they are requesting for bribes and all that. So the slap, or the infamous slap, the Standard says it's kind of looking at it in the positive way. Then on the sport page of page 48, you'll read about Faith's Budapest promise, and then you'll read about Raila Odinga on tomorrow exiting the stage. That's a question why Raila is still the man to watch. President Ruto and allies are lining up a raft of strategies to push Raila into political retirement. Of course, you'll read that on page, or rather page 10, the national page of the Standard. Inside the Standard, you'll read about real estate and financial shipping and logistics. And Daily Nation states there, and of course it's going at 60 shillings. The Daily Nation is saying the court deals Ruto a blow on new taxes. And of course they're talking about the new taxes. On page 8, it says the High Court has extended orders blocking the implementation of Finance Act 2023 for another 5 days in a move that will see the taxman fail to collect up to 5.78 billion, even as Omtata trained his guns on EPRA boss. That is on page 8. Of course, Okia Mtata has become very famous after challenging this move. Kenyans are singing and chanting his name all over. And page 10, you'll see about the TSC story again. 20,000 posts for intern teachers in primary and JSS. You'll read about that. 20,000 teachers posts are up for grabs. And then on page 2, Kusi Ideas Festival goes to Botswana. Nation Media Group partners with Gaborone to host 5th Kusi edition. You'll read about that story there. And then finally, down there, you'll read about a village mourns the ones we lost. They just put almost like a memorandum, or rather memorabilia, of faces that were lost in this Londiani crash. 52 people who died there. Of course, some of the faces there are young people, moms and dads, and very young boys and girls there who lost their lives in the Londiani crash. Let's take a look at Taifa Leo, which is a Swahili centered newspaper for Swahili lovers and coastal population. It's going for 30 shillings. Wanasema pale kinara wa ODM amua kugatua maandamano wa kuteua wale watakayo yaongoza mashimani baada ya kubanwa jijini Nairobi. Raila ageuza ngoma. That is the top story there. Of course, it's featuring a very disturbed face of Raila Odinga, and of course this man has aged really. To page 2, they're saying kinara wa Azimio Raila Odinga, Azimio la Umoja Raila Odinga sasa amebadili mbinu za kupambana na sera dhalimu za utawala wa Rais William Ruto na kwa kugatua maandamano hadi sehemu za mashinani. And you read that story there. They're also talking about, by the way, there's a scan code there. You can scan on your screen. You can get the daily, or rather the Taifa Leo, on your mobile app, or on your mobile phones if you scan that code. And you can buy it for a much lesser price than if you had to buy the hard copy. Na ukurasa wa 4 wanasema wakazi wataka feri bila magari, wasema daraja la Liwatoni bila magari, wasema daraja la Liwatoni limefungwa kwa ukarabati. Utasoma hiyo pia pale kwa ukurasa wa 4. Kisha rais akaribia kutoa kwa wanabunduki, the Gunners. Wanabunduki ni watu wa Arsenal. West Ham yakubali kuuza kiungo wa mahiri kwa 18.7 billion Kenyan shillings. I tell you, utasoma hiyo katika ukurasa wa 20. Kisha jarida ndani ya gazeti la Taifa Leo utasoma jarida la lugha na fasihi ukurasa wa 3. Kuna sample exams pale utapata. Walimu wa upili wakataa nyongeza ya mishahara. Sasa chama cha walimu wa shule cha upili na vyuo anuai ama KUPPET kimekataa nyongeza ya mishahara waliopewa na Rais William Ruto. Utasoma kwa nini katika page 4. Kisha darubini ya Joho ukurasa wa 4 utasoma hiyo story pale pia kuhusu Hassan Joho. That's it for the newspapers. Of course, we are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the international sports, the international news. And then we'll wind down, of course, with what you guys, of course, the word of the day and what you guys went online to search for. Let's take a break. It's around 7:47 there, and of course you're watching Thursday morning. Let's take a look at some international news. It starts with malaria vaccine. Of course, these are the images on your screen. Now, in response to a high demand for first ever malaria vaccine, 12 countries in Africa will be allocated around a total of 18 million doses of RTS-S01 for the 2023-2025 period malaria vaccine implementation program. Countries Ghana, Kenya, Malawi will receive doses to continue their vaccinations in the pilot areas. Allocations were also made for new introductions in Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Niger, Sierra Leone, and Uganda. And of course, the allocations have been determined through the application of the principle outlined in the framework for the allocation of limited malaria vaccine supply that prioritizes those doses to areas of highest need, where the risk of malaria illness and death among children are highest in. Now, addition to Ghana, Kenya,
really
and Malawi, the initial 18 million doses, of course, will be using. Let's listen in.
And the introduction of malaria vaccine as another tool, an additional tool in the toolbox to fight against the severe disease, the deaths that occur, is a really essential step forward.
The first vaccine against malaria, the RTS-S vaccine, has now been delivered to more than 1.6 million children in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi. It has been shown to be safe and effective, resulting in a substantial reduction in severe malaria and a fall in child deaths.
Now, of course, the initial 18 million dose allocation will enable 9 more countries, including Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Niger, and Sierra Leone, and Uganda, also to have them. And of course, the introduction of this vaccine into their program is for the first time. Of course, we'll be following up on the same. Now let's take a look at South Africa, where South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa welcomed the decision by the High Court in Johannesburg to dismiss the private prosecution case instituted by former President Jacob Zuma. These are the images where the judge declared prosecution of President Ramaphosa invalid and unconstitutional. The former president, Jacob Zuma, turned to the court after blaming President Ramaphosa for failing to act when he told him about the prosecutor Billy Downer's alleged misconduct. Now, Jacob Zuma is still fighting to have Downer removed from his arms to deal corruption trial. Now, the court ordered Zuma to pay for the legal costs of Ramaphosa and those of other 2 counsels. And let's move on. President Salva Kiir of Sudan says South Sudan's long-delayed elections will happen in 2024, with him on the ballot for the ruling, or rather for ruling Sudan's People Liberation Movement Party. Of course, Kiir, who's on your screen, has led South Sudan since it became independent from around 2011 from Sudan, and accepted the endorsement of the ruling party at a stadium event on Tuesday in Bahr el Ghazal. And of course, the election will be the first ever national vote held in South Sudan. He added that his government is doing everything possible to ensure that what is crucial to conducting the elections is put in. Kiir is expected to face his long outstanding rivals, first Vice President Riek Machar, who has yet to confirm his candidacy. Now, the opposition has accused the government of lacking the political will to hold elections, but Kiir said he is committed to free and fair elections. Almost 400,000 people died in a 5-year civil war before Kiir and Machar signed a peace deal in 2018 and form a unity government. Now let's take a look at sports news. Manchester United have made a bid worth 45 million euros for Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana, whose images are on screen. The move for Onana is being driven by United manager Erik ten Hag, who managed the Cameroon International at Ajax, early suggestions indicate there is a gap in valuation with of course, with this club. Of course, the Inter Milan, this is a goalkeeper for Inter Milan. He says the gap in valuation is believed to want closer to around 60 million euros, but there is a feeling of compromise, and it can be struck where United are continuing to look for alternatives if an agreement cannot be reached. Meanwhile, United are remaining in talks with Atalanta for striker Rasmus Højlund. Again, a gap in valuation exists, but United are continuing to work on the deal. Other options include Eintracht Frankfurt's Randall Kolo Muani. And Paris Saint-Germain has confirmed the appointment of former Barcelona and Spain boss Luis Enrique as the PSG new manager. Now, it comes after the club earlier confirmed that the sacking of Christophe Galtier after just one season. Enrique has been out of work since leaving Spain at the end of the World Cup, and it is his first job in club management since his departure from Barcelona. In May 2017, Enrique had also previously been on the shortlist of both Chelsea and Tottenham since he left Spain following their last 16 defeat to Morocco. In Qatar, his spell at Barcelona was a massive success, winning the La Liga title, a Champions League trophy, and the Copa del Rey on 3 occasions. Let's listen in.
De lo que es fútbol de ataque, fútbol que pueda ser divertido para el aficionado y sobre todo fútbol que consigue buenos resultados.
Quand vous avez signé au PSG, est-ce que vous avez eu la garantie que Kylian Mbappé serait encore dans l'effectif cette saison?
Cuando firmé por el PSG o cuando empezamos a hablar sobre lo que significa formar una plantilla, uno siempre está abierto a que puedan surgir infinidad de cosas, pero en la plantilla, la planificación, evidentemente la mantengo en privado porque es una charla profesional. Cuento con todos los jugadores que tienen contrato en vigor con el equipo y también con los que estamos intentando fichar, también cuento con esos. ¿Quiénes son? Eso ya forma parte del día a día y ya sabéis que el mercado y más en esto del fútbol va variando continuamente. No he hablado con... Bueno, he hablado con Kimpembe, con Mukiele, con Nuno Méndez, porque he coincidido con ellos aquí en el centro deportivo. No he hablado con ningún otro jugador de la plantilla. Me encanta tener esa presión. Eso sí, hay 7 o 8 equipos que tenemos 7 o 8 equipos del mismo nivel y además con una experiencia superior a la nuestra en Europa, no hay duda, pero que tengan experiencia superior no significa que no podamos alcanzarla. Curiosamente, la Champions League es una clasificación entre comillas injusta porque depende de un partido malo y te echa de la competición.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we take a look at our word of the day, and of course we conclude our Thursday morning briefs with what you guys are looking online for. We'll be back in a short while.
Why are you stressed out? Why are you not sleeping at night? I concluded a long time ago in my Christian walk that the scripture says God never sleeps nor slumbers. And since he don't sleep, ain't no need of me staying up all night. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, I'm gonna go ahead to bed and see how God gonna work it out. He might have it all fixed by the time I get up in the morning. I can't change it. I can't fix it. I can't turn it around. But the God that I serve sure can.
Welcome back. This is Thursday morning. Now, before we take a look at our quote, I want to ask you a question. How do you define success? Is it an achievement, a big achievement? How would you define success? You see, success sometimes it's just the small gains that we have. Of course, that is what our quote states today. Let's take a look at our quote. He says the success is just a peace of mind, and that is John Wooden. And of course, when you reach at a point, you just have peace of mind. You don't have stress of getting this and that. John Wooden says that is just success. Kind of relate to that. Look, we never like to close our broadcast this Thursday morning at 8 without giving you a feel of what your day is going to be at weather point. Of course, we like to look at various cities across the country, across Western and Trans-Nzoia, and of course various counties, just to exchange information about what the weather is going to look like today. So let's take a look at weather. I want to wish you a very nice day today, and of course, have a blessed day. Look, whatever you do, try the very best to be your very best in whatever situation you will find yourself at. Whether it is work, whether it is anything, do the very best and be the very best version of yourself. I'll see you tonight if possible. My name is Frank MUSAKALI. If God wills, we'll meet again. Bye-bye.